It was dubbed the world's tallest water slide, a vertigo-inducing ride with a nearly vertical 17-story freefall. Taller than the Statue of Liberty, riders reaching speeds of up to 50 miles an hour. And the name the amusement park company Schlitterbahn chose for it was verrückt, which means insane in German. But in 2016, that thrill ride came to a grisly, and prosecutors say murderous stop. 10-year-old Caleb Schwab had been decapitated while going down the water slide. In an indictment unsealed Tuesday, 2 of verrückt's designers and the ride's construction company have been charged on 18 counts, including reckless second-degree murder. Jeffrey Wayne Henry, John Schooley, and Henry & Sons Construction Company were also charged in connection with injuring 13 others who rode verrückt, including 4 minors. A Kansas grand jury also indicted a former Schlitterbahn director, Tyler Austin Miles, and the water park itself on 20 counts, including involuntary manslaughter.
It's unusual for a company to get charged criminally. It's even more unusual for the individuals who run the company or were responsible for the actions to be charged criminally.
The indictment states that Henry's design of the ride, quote, guaranteed that the rafts would occasionally go airborne in a manner that could severely injure or kill the occupants. And that's what happened in the summer of 2016 when Caleb Schwab was killed after his raft went airborne, hitting those metal hoops suspended above the ride to keep the netting in. 2 others in the raft suffered facial fractures.
I call that insane.
I was there when the ride first opened in 2014.
This is literally not for the faint of heart.
At the time, it was deemed a feat of engineering. I was the first TV journalist to take the plunge.
Should we be worried that there are lifeguards up here?
There were lifeguards, safety checks.
Wow, you're doing that pretty tight.
And on this day, at least, a park employee at the top of the ride reading a 2-page liability agreement.
There is a risk inherent to the activity, including falls.
Yet the indictment alleges Henry knew the water slide was, quote, a seriously dangerous piece of equipment, yet opened it anyway.
Should I be concerned that they're still using jackhammers and saws on this ride right now?
I have no idea what they're doing.
I don't know what they're doing.
But you're saying it is safe?
Oh yeah, this ride is probably the safest speed slide that's ever been built. It's been tested, it's been evaluated.
Prosecutors say neither of those things were true. The indictment says that employees warned executives about brake failures on the ride at least 29 times, and yet they were never fixed, and riders were getting hurt. Nathan Campbell was a lifeguard at the park. The indictment says that every morning, employees like him would be asked to volunteer to test the ride.
The brakes just didn't work, so we never stopped and just kept going and hit the very end of the ride and flipped off.
He says he was lightly hurt in his back, but was able to walk away.
I never wanted to be close to it, on it, work for it. I didn't want to be even close to it because that happened.
Brittany Hawkins was celebrating her birthday at the park when she, too, had a close call on the verrückt.
You're speeding down this hill and you can't really get your balance. The raft went airborne and I was actually flown up and my seatbelt came off.
Brittany says she was terrified.
We were going up that little hill, that second hill, and the gravity, again, lifted the raft and went flying down, and that's when I came crashing down on my back and couldn't move. I had 3 slip discs in my back that still give me trouble today.
According to the indictment, Henry decided to build the world's tallest and fastest water slide in a spur-of-the-moment bid to impress Travel Channel producers for their Extreme Water Park series. Much of the testing was done a year prior to the opening. Many of the challenges captured by the show.
Tipped over and killed every sandbag in there.
A prototype of the slide, even constructed in Texas, rafts seen flying off the slide.
How much over budget and how late?
Well, we were way over budget.
According to a Schlitterbahn statement, the indictment uses quoted statements from a reality TV show that was scripted for dramatic effect that in no way reflects the design and construction of the ride. Quotes were purported to be from definitive design meetings when they were, in fact, acting. The indictment even going as far as claiming Miles allegedly lied to investigators, withholding daily safety reports that contained incriminating information about injuries. Miles's lawyer, Tricia Bass, says her client never avoided or delayed repairs or covered up any incidents, and had even scheduled his wife to ride Verrucht on the day of the accident involving Caleb Schwab.
You have to look at each of these defendants individually. You can't just lump them all together and say, are they all going to get convicted or are they all going to get acquitted? They're all going to have a day in court.
In comparison to the rest of the country, Kansas's laws regarding to the regulation of rides like Verrucht are less stringent.
At the time, the state had no mandated laws that required an inspection at every setup or any ride safety analysis that should have been performed by an outside independent agency.
But those regulations were beefed up after Caleb's death. Last year, I spoke to his parents about that tragic day.
But I still can remember him sitting on the floor in there saying, come on, we're going to go to the park. And he just lit up. He was so excited.
That day, the Schwabs piled their 4 boys, including 10-year-old Caleb, into the car. And it was a special August day because admission was free for the families of state legislators like Scott.
6 went to the park and 5 came back.
6 went to the park, 5 came back.
Upon arriving, the Schwabs say Caleb and his big brother Nathan went right to the 170-foot scaffold of the Verrucht ride.
Before they took off, I said, brothers stick together. And he says, I know, Dad.
It was the last time his parents would ever see Caleb alive. Big brother Nathan was dutifully waiting for him at the bottom when the unimaginable happened.
He was screaming. He flew from Verrucht. He flew from Verrucht.
Nathan ran to find his mother, but the horror made it nearly impossible for the 12-year-old to explain what he'd seen.
There was a gentleman who wouldn't allow me to come close enough to see what was going on. And he just kept saying, no, trust me, you don't want to go any further.
Onlookers confirming the family's worst fears.
I said, I just need to hear you say it. Is my son dead? And he just shook his head. And I said, I need to hear it from you. Is he dead? He says, yes, your son is dead.
In a statement Monday, Schlitterbahn called Caleb's death an unforeseeable accident, adding its employees had the highest dedication to safety and vowed to fight these allegations.
Accident. But I think you and your attorneys believe that negligence caused
Oh, yeah,
the accident.
It's an accident. But there's an accounting because someone was negligent.
For Nightline, I'm Matt Gutman.
Our thanks to Matt Gutman. And Jeffrey Henry is being held in a jail in Texas pending extradition to Kansas.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.